slowness, the absence of compute clusters for precision here. The lack of compute clusters really prevents the parallelization.
Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot for being here. I will ask you just to wait like 2 minutes more. We are just going to set up the presentation because we had a small problem with the connection of the coach. Okay, so give us just 2 more minutes and we will start right away. Thank you.
Já está. Já estou mais alto.
Também estou a ter. Já.
9.
Quero tudo abaixo das 4 horas.
Sorry, I'm sorry. We have a lot of people just meeting right now. So just to inform you that we are having some technical issues with the connection of Coach Joserra. So let's just wait a little bit more for him to join, and we will start right after that. Okay. Sorry for this problem. So, while we are still waiting, let me suggest that you have the Q&A open, and if you have some like technical questions about the race or something, maybe you can start writing it down, and I will try to explain it. And once Coach Joserra enters, then we will start with this presentation and follow the normal procedure what was scheduled. Okay, if so, you can write wherever you want. If you have any technical questions, write it at the Q&A, and I will try to answer the best I can. Okay. No te escucho. Ya te veo, pero no te escucho. So, Luisa, I don't know if you are registered for the 70.3 or for the full distance. Our expectation is to have about 2,600 people racing on the 70.3 at the race start, more or less. Can be a little bit more or a little bit less. And we expect around 1,600 for the full distance. That's about it. Okay. So 2,600 for the 70.3 and 1,600 for the full distance. Guys and girls, of course. It's easier for me if you just write it down at the Q&A so that I can follow the questions, okay? I have two or three questions in the chat. I'm going to answer them, but it's easier to follow the flow of it, to have it on the Q&A, okay? So about the aid stations on the cycling. So the most important thing is that the water and the isotonic drinks will be in a bike bottle. Okay, so it will fit the cage. It's an improvement from last year. So once you get to the aid station, like 100 meters before, you will have like a place or an area to drop your bike bottles. You just throw them away and you get the new one once you go by the aid station. You'll find in the athlete's guide the order of the products we are going to have there and the whole explanation. But yes, you have to throw your own bottles and receive new ones. Thomas, I didn't quite got your question. You are trying to compare Portugal, Cascais with Nice. Is that it, or are you comparing Portugal from this year with the last one? Just for me to understand. Okay.
Vasco, ¿ya me puedes escuchar?
Sí, ya te escucho.
Bueno, menos mal. Madre mía, media hora intentándolo. Bueno, al final, como somos deportistas de resistencia, lo hemos conseguido.
Venga, vamos.
Muy bien.
So Joserra is already in. He is just going to put his presentation on. I'm just going to answer these last questions, and then as soon as he's ready, we will start. Okay. Okay, Thomas. So considering Nice and Portugal, well, I've never raced in Nice, so I don't have that feeling. But I would say that the total elevation it's quite similar. The thing in Portugal, in Cascais, is that you'll start the bike and you'll have like a small uphill, and then you start going down until kilometer 35. So from 35 to 90, it's flat. Okay, so if you're going for the 2 loops, it's like in the beginning of the loop, you'll find the hill, then you go down, and the biggest part of the course it's flat. So it's easier for to mitigate the drafting effect, because you'll start going up, and then you will distance the peloton or the athletes. Then you'll go down, you get to marginal, and then it's completely flat till the end of the lap. So I think that's the most or the biggest difference between one and another. Okay. Joserra, do you want to start?
Yes, whenever you want.
Now, up to you. It's yours. The floor is yours.
Okay.
I will continue with the answers right after it.
Okay. Perfect. So first of all, I'm so sorry for this delay. We've been battling with technology for 30 minutes with Sarah, but finally, as endurance athletes, here we are. So finally, we did it. And it's time to give the presentation that we've been preparing for you. So I will share the screen, and we will start enjoying your Ironman and Ironman 70.3 from this moment on. Please, Vasco, let me know if you can see the screen I'm sharing now. If you can see the picture of the...
All good.
Start?
Yep.
Okay. And is it advancing now?
Yep.
It's changing. Okay.
All good.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So, on behalf of Ironman Portugal, welcome to your Ironman and Ironman 70.3 webinar. 6 months to go, 6 months ahead of Ironman and Ironman 70.3 Portugal-Cascais. We are going to talk about the key aspects to consider in your preparation, but not just the training, but the nutrition, the lifestyle, the mental training. So we hope you enjoy the session. And of course, as Vasco told you just a few minutes before, At the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity to take advantage of this moment and to ask anything that you consider interesting for you. I remember always this sentence from one of my professional athletes, and he always said that the decisions I make today will bring me closer or farther away from my goal. So he wanted to make good decisions every single day, because at the end of the way, because at the end of the journey, the decisions that you are taking today, you are making today, are very, very important. The little decisions, not just the bike that I need, the wetsuit that I need, the small decisions, the little things are very important when we are preparing to enjoy the Ironman and the Ironman 70.3 journey. So the contents that we are going to cover here to take advantage of this part of the preparation 6 months ahead, and to understand the little details that will drive you to the finish line, are the next ones. First, what's involved in training and competing in an Ironman and Ironman 70.3, specifically here, Cascais. Second, what's necessary to develop during the preparation. Third, the 5 keys of any training process. Fourth, how to divide the 6 months into phases. And finally, how to get into action, evolve, and improve. Finally, as Vasco said just a minute before, you will have the opportunity using the chat to ask us many things that you need to know or you want to understand better before you start the journey. So let's start. What's involved in training and competing in an Ironman 70.3? So we have to ask ourselves what it takes to compete in an Ironman or Ironman 70.3. But before we start understanding the distances, the calories, the metabolic fitness, etc., we need to understand that health will always come before performance. So without health, you can't achieve the best level of physical fitness. So take care of your health. From the very little detail, it will be the thing that you need to drive yourself to your best performance. So once we are healthy, then we can start training and we can start performing and advancing, and we can face and deal the race day. If we talk about the Ironman demands, you know that you are preparing a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, and a marathon. For the age groupers, that last between 9 and 17 hours. Wonderful day. Everything, of course, is around endurance, aerobic fitness. This is the most important part of our preparation, but not the only one. So for 9 to 17 hours, we need to develop the fat metabolism. Of course, the carbohydrate metabolism, but the main metabolism will be burning fat. Healthy structures will be key. So when we talk about endurance, many times we think about long hours on the bike, endurance training, endurance events, but we need healthy structures. That means that we need muscles, joints, tendons, ligaments, and bones in a perfect moment. So healthy structures will be key if we want to perform, of course, on race day, but not just to perform on race day, but to perform every single day. Training will be much better. We will burn in the Ironman between 5,400 calories to 8,000, 5,000 calories. And finally, the magical word, we need will. We need the desire to cross that finish line. But before that, we need the desire to prepare ourselves for that wonderful day. If we talk about the Ironman 70.3, 1,900 meters, 90 kilometers, and a half marathon, On race day, age groupers will cross the finish line between 4 and 8 hours. Of course, again, a race lasting 4 to 8 hours, again, is an endurance effort. Aerobic fitness will be key. And here, the carbohydrates metabolism will play a role more important than when we talk about the Ironman. Again, healthier structures, both for your training and for your race. And you will burn between 2,800 calories to 4,000 calories on race day. Of course, and again, you want to do this. Will be key in the process. But even before the demands of the event you are preparing for, that we've been now reviewing, we want to answer this key question from the very beginning. 6 months to go, and we want to know your why. Your why will be guiding you throughout the training process. Your why will be your reference on race day. And the most important idea, your why should be important to you, not to anyone else. It doesn't matter if you want to have more followers on Instagram, if you want to achieve your PB, if you want to qualify for the Ironman or the Ironman World Championship, Ironman 70.3 World Championship, or maybe you want to beat your last time. It doesn't matter. The why should be very important for you, because this why will drive you through the whole process, from the first day of training to the last meter of the race. Here you have one of the most important words that we need to accomplish: commitment. Training for and competing at an Ironman and Ironman 70.3 is a commitment. The most important one is to yourself. There will be also other commitments to your family, friends, coach, etc. But you must always respect the one you have to yourself. So you register for the race, you have the commitment to prepare yourself, to enjoy the process, and to cross the finish line. Balance, not just for life. Of course, life is possible thanks to maintaining balance. Health is also possible thanks to maintaining balance. And of course, Ironman and Ironman 70.3 journey requires maintaining balance between all the pieces of the puzzle that make up your daily lives. All these pieces are necessary. We are all equally important. You have to be able to put them all together. Training is key, but so are sleep, your other obligations, reducing stress, and good diet. Triathlon is an individual sport, but here you have a very important word. Triathlon is a team sport too, because when we are training every single day, maybe you are doing by yourself, but you need to surround yourself with a team on a daily basis that supports you, reinforces you, provides you with positivity, and adds quality to the journey. So your team will be key both for training and for racing. And here I love this sentence. Love the process. Of course, we want to race. We want to be prepared for the wonderful moment that you will never forget when you leave the Ironman or the Ironman 70.3 in Portugal-Cascais. It's amazing. It's an amazing venue. The atmosphere is electrical. It's wonderful. But before that, the process will be as important as the race. So give equal importance to the journey, to the process, the daily details, and enjoy the experience of preparing for the competition, with the privilege of being able to experimenting the experience and this extraordinary process. Second step, what's necessary to develop during the preparation of your race? Here we will start talking about training, nutrition, mental training. So let's start. When we talk about volume, we talk about duration and frequency. Duration is the time or the distance that you cover during your training. Of course, volume we always talk about volume for the weekly basis. For Ironman, we talk about 10 to 35 hours per week of training. 10, of course, is for the age groupers, maybe 15, maybe 20. The high level age groupers are training between 15, 20, 22. And then we talk about the professional athletes, training between 25 and 35 hours per week regularly. When we talk about the Ironman 70.3, between 8 hours for the age groupers, maybe beginners, to 25 hours for the world champions. And remember, more is not always better. We will talk about this idea in more detail in just a minute. Intensity. This is the other side of the training, volume and intensity. We measure intensity when we talk about heart rate, RPE, power, and pace or speed. And very important, dear athletes, we must train at all intensities throughout the season for optimal preparation. They all have qualities to add improvements to our performance. We will check this, we will see this in just a minute when we talk about the 6 months of preparation and how to divide it in different phases. Training is different from adapting. So training more is not always related to more adaptations. Training more is not always related to improve. Because when we train, we are adding a stimuli to our body, but then we want to create new adaptations. We want to create improvements in our body. And more is not always related to those adaptations. We need to take care of the volume and the intensity when we are training, not training more all the time. So vary your sessions and keep some of them identical. If you vary your sessions, if you do different kind of zone 2 sessions, zone 3 sessions, zone 5 sessions, you will put yourself outside of your comfort zone every time you vary a session. And then you will improve, because every time we go outside the comfort zone, we are improving. But at the same time, keep some sessions identical, because we need those sessions to test the improvements that we are doing, to measure ourselves throughout the process. So keep some sessions identical. And finally, build up your volume gradually, little by little, not too much, 5 to 10% per week, and add some resting weeks to reduce the volume, to reduce the intensity, and then to absorb all the training that you've been doing during the last few weeks. How to train? Here we have to talk about 3 different types of session that you have to put in your calendar during the 6 months that we have ahead. We have recovery sessions, maintenance sessions, and development sessions. The training week, we will see a training week in just a minute, should be first putting the main workouts, the main goal for this week. For example, imagine you have a week when you want to improve your VO2 max, your zone 5, then you put first your main workouts, and you should be sure that the main workouts will be perfectly dealt and will be perfectly performed. So this is the first part of your training week. Then once you put the main workouts on your calendar, you add the secondary workouts, those to recover between sessions and those to maintain different kinds of training zones, metabolism, etc. Here you have an example of the way that we can organize your training week. For example, Monday, very easy day, swim drills. Tuesday is when we can achieve the goal to high intensity bike ride. And then after the bike, low intensity run as a transition. On Wednesday, long run and long swim. Thursday, low intensity bike with drills. Friday, high intensity swim and run drills. Saturday will be for the long bike ride and a short run. It's a transition again. and Sunday, high to medium intensity run. Of course, this is always something that we need to individualize for every triathlete, but this is a general idea that works good for most of the triathletes. When we talk about nutrition, we are talking about the fourth discipline of triathlon. Nutrition is key. Swim, bike, run, eat. Because depending on the way that we are eating, we are going to perform. Nutrients, we need all of them. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water are the main nutrients, are the only nutrients that we have in our lives. So we need all of them, and we need all of them every single day. The key factor to choose them is quantity, first, the moment of the day, second, and the workouts. So it depends on the workouts that we are doing and the meal that we are going to do, pre and post workout, that we are going to choose different nutrients. Here you have the most important meal for every single triathlete and every single athlete in the world when we talk about endurance events. And it happens right after the session, between the end of the session of your workout and the first 20 to 30 minutes before you finish the session. This is something called metabolic window. It is the most important time to refill energy stores and accelerate the recovery of structures. The highest intensity of the workout, the more important carbohydrate intake and protein intake are. Here is very important to understand that right after every session, we need to refill again and to recover our structures to be ready for the next workout. Next one, balance your nutrients. High quality carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are equally important and should be present daily. And of course, I always recommend natural foods. They are always better. They are healthier, safer, cheaper, and tastier. Before taking supplements, please eat a balanced diet. It will always be better. Finally, how to eat during these next few months that we have before the Ironman and Ironman 70.3 Cascais. Prioritize carbohydrates before and after workouts, especially higher intensity sessions. Prioritize fats on lower intensity and lower volume days. And finally, prioritize proteins from afternoon to evening. Next one, training for an Ironman and Ironman 70.3 is something wonderful. And it's not just swimming, cycling, and running. It becomes a lifestyle. And we are privileged because we can register for the race. We can travel to Cascais. We are healthy to train for. We have a why, and we can enjoy all in the extraordinary process. So we have wonderful opportunities. This is a journey, a great journey, and a great opportunity to learn more about ourselves, to discover unknown parts of our personalities, to discover the world, because through the Ironman, you can cover the world and not just race, but discover new cultures, people, landscapes, languages, food. So it's a wonderful opportunity that finally have the challenge to help us to conquer new limits. So everything becomes a lifestyle. You have to enjoy the process. You have to enjoy the obstacles. You have to break your own comfort zone. So is when you really put yourself in the wonderful journey to conquer the Ironman or the Ironman 70.3. Finally, in this part, the mental training. Our brain is like a muscle. It can be trained. So new neural connections are created when we imagine what we want to happen. So the more you train your brain, the more times you see yourself training, enjoying the process, racing, enjoying the race, the better your brain will be prepared to perform that reality. Our brain doesn't distinguish between the reality and what we are imagining. So imagine what you want to achieve, and you will be closer to do it. Finally, I love this idea. Accept, embrace, address. This is coming from Matt Fitzgerald and one of his wonderful books. We can have many things under control, but there are many things that we can never control, but we can adapt to them. So when we have obstacles, when there is something that we cannot control and is there and is happening, then first, accept that thing. They are part of the process and they are good opportunities to grow. Second, embrace that thing. Think about how to overcome them, these things, positively. And finally, address them. Take action toward the solution. So you will have always opportunities to grow, to improve, and to be even stronger. Next step, the 5 keys of any training process. First, and this is the first one that I always told to my athletes, consistency. This is the most important factor in achieving any goal in triathlon and in life, because our body works by inertia, which means our organism needs time to get used to and adapt to any type of stimulus. Changes never happen overnight. Everything needs time, a long process, and this is the wonderful thing related to the Ironman and Ironman 70.3 training. We will always achieve new things, new limits, new goals through the time that we are going to spend months and years. The body improves through a process in which it must be constantly, regularly stimulated. So consistency is key, because without consistency, there is no improvement. We need all the time to keep stimulating our bodies. Of course, that doesn't mean that we need to stimulate up our body. We need to train every single day, but consistency is key. And here you have an idea. Here you have an example. It's better to train 10 hours a week for 6 months than to train for 6 months alternating a 20-hour training week with a week of no training. The total time is the same, 10 hours per week, but it's very different to do it consistently than to do it alternating a lot of training with no training. Passions. We are endurance athletes, so we want to be passionate. Triathletes are endurance athletes. You must be passionate at all times so that each piece of the puzzle fits together at the right time. So, as I told you before, adaptations and changes in performance are long-term. They never occur overnight. So, it's not about performing well in an important workout, just one day or just 1 week. It's about adding weeks and months, what we call blocks of preparation in the right direction and feeling the adaptations coming. Be patient and you will enjoy experiencing how your improvements appear. It's wonderful when you are training and you are feeling little by little how all the work that you are doing is coming to your body, is perceived not just from your feelings, but you can check those changes in your power meter, in your heart rate, in your GPS. So be patient. Balance. This is important for life and of course important for the Ironman and Ironman 70.3 Cascais journey. Different zones should be trained, low, medium, and high, because we need all kind of stimulus to be balanced triathletes. We need to stimulate the slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fibers. Many people think that we just need to train zone 2, low intensity, and long sessions. This is just stimulating the slow twitch, the part of our muscles that are prepared to endure. But we need to train those fibers that maybe the sprinters are training most of the time, FT. So if we do that, we will become more balanced and better prepared athletes. So if you see professional triathletes, they are the most well-balanced athletes in the world. This is the reason why they can perform at the best and at the highest level in the sport. Very, 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 very important idea. Listen to your body. And I love this sentence. Our bodies have billions of sensors, more than the best power meter, heart rate monitor, and GPS combined. That's wonderful. So we have to learn to listen to our body, and we have to know how it reacts to each workout, when it's comfortable, when it's uncomfortable, when it's something that it's too much, when we are in our limits, when a food provides a high quality boost, or for example, when we need rest. Listen to your body is always the best way to apply and to obtain most of the information, all the information, because we are providing ourselves with the objective information, this information that is coming from the heart rate, from the power meter, from the GPS, so the numbers. But if we combine this information with the subjective information that is coming from listening to our body, then is when we are smarter and we can advance in the perfect way. Finally, recovery is gold. It's not just about training. Recovery is key. So, thanks to our recovery time, we are able to assimilate training and increase our performance thanks to adaptations that occur. The greatest number of adaptations occur during the night, and I will show you in a minute something that you will love. Increase your recovery hours and rest time, and your performance will also improve. Finally, reduce the stress to improve your recovery phases. Our brains cannot differentiate between physical and mental stress. This is the reason why professional athletes can train many hours, a lot of hours, more than the age groupers. Because if we consider our body like a battery and we have certain amount of energy, when we are training, we are burning some parts of this energy. But when we are stressed and we are attending many things in our lives, from the professional side, familiar side, many things in our daily lives, we need to invest part of our energy, part of our battery to solve all these situations. Professional triathletes spend most of the time just burning the physical part of the energy, of the battery that they have. And they try to be as relaxed, as low stress as possible, because this way they never burn this part of the stress or the energy with the stress that they have to deal with. And here you have this wonderful picture. You can see how we are advancing and we are improving every single day. Imagine, now it's 7:51 p.m. in Portugal. So imagine that we go to train. This is this part. We are here. Then when we are training, it doesn't matter if we train 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. We are going to fatigue ourselves. Then, if you follow the green line, our performance during the hours that we are training is not improving, is not increasing. Our performance is reducing. Is when we start the recovery phase, when we finish the session, when the recovery is happening. We are recovering little by little by little till we reach the same level that we have before. But here is when the magic happens. Our bodies are prepared to supercompensate and to improve even more the performance that we had today at 7:51 p.m. in Portugal, to create more adaptations, more improvements, to strengthen our body. This is what we call supercompensation. This is when we are really improving our fitness level. This is wonderful, and this is something that is happening every single day in our training. Next step, let's talk about training. How to divide the 6 months of your preparation to race Ironman and Ironman 70.3 Portugal-Cascais. First, we will divide the process in 3 different parts: training to train, training to race, and reaching your peak. Training to train, this is what we call base training. Here, we are far away from our race. So, what we are going to do is to prepare our bodies for the demands of the second phase. So, we are strengthening our bodies to be fit enough to train when we want to train as similar to the race as possible. So the first part of the preparation of the training process is just to prepare our bodies for the second part, because the second part is the part when we are doing the training, the specific training that is similar to the race, that is similar to the Ironman or the Ironman 70.3. So the first part is just the base training. And this is the reason why we are doing different kind of training that is not specific, that is not similar to your race. You are going to train zone 5, zone 4. Sometimes some athletes ask me, Coach, why I'm doing zone 5 or zone 4 if I'm not going to race in zone 5 or zone 4 during my entire Ironman or Ironman 70.3? Okay, because we need to prepare your body to perform better when we want to train to race in the specific training, and then is when we are going to really improve your fitness to race faster, or at least to achieve your goal. So training to train between 11 and 15 weeks of your preparation from this moment to the to race day is when we are going to add in a specific training, okay, different kind of stimulus. I will let you know in more detail in just a minute, because we want to be as strong as possible during the second part. And of course, the second part is training to race, is when it is the time to address the specific conditions of your race, okay? Depending on if you are racing the Ironman or the Ironman 70.3 is when we are going to see the needs that you have. Finally, reaching your peak, your tapering, it can be resumed by this wonderful sentence: it's better to be 1% less tired than 10% more trained when you put yourself in the start line of the Ironman or the Ironman 70.3. So we need to do the tapering. We need to reduce the volume. We need to keep the intensity similar to the race, but we don't want to be fatigued just minutes before the start of the race, because we want to deal with our best fitness during the whole competition. And if we go to the race too much fatigue, then at the end of the race, we are going to pay this too much effort. How to divide the 6 months? Every part of the process as its own, add to the whole journey, and it's equally important to achieve your dream. So sometimes training will be similar to racing. This is the specific phase, and sometimes should be different both in volume and intensity. This is train to train. So the first part will be between 4 and 5 weeks. Here we will focus on improving your efficiency by both discovering how you move and increasing your aerobic fitness. This aerobic fitness is related to zone 2. We will talk about, or we will train drills, high intensity and long sessions in zone 2, and this is the main goal for this phase that we call technique and base. Then the second phase, the second part, the second block, 4 to 5 weeks, we will focus on the VO2 max. This is your aerobic limit, and we want to push up this limit to improve your aerobic fitness and improve your speed. At the same time, we will keep zone 2 as an important part of this block of your preparation. Here, it's very important to apply the improvements that we've been doing during the first part, during the first block. I mean that we need to focus in the technique to be as efficient as possible. Then the third part will be between 3 and 4 weeks. We call that muscular endurance. You should focus on adding more resistance to your swim, bike, and run sessions by using, for example, paddles and drags for the swim, big gear or overweight on the bike, and uphill running and uphill for the running and the cycling. This is very important. And finally, the second big block, training to race, will last between 8 and 12 weeks. This is the specific phase of your preparation. Here, we focus on your race pace intensities and on simulating the distances of your competition. Add some efforts above and below that intensity and add your specific nutrition and gear. Let's keep advancing, because now we are going to see how we are going to organize this during the training process. So, how to get into action, evolve, and improve. So, how to combine all the pieces of the training puzzle. Today, I encourage you to think of your why, first of all. Second, organize your daily life to fit all the pieces of the puzzle. Third, start easy, step by step, session by session. Remember, patience. Finally, remember, from the very beginning, listen to your body. Then, once we start, today, tomorrow, just a few days, once we start the process to train, we will increase the volume in zone 2. This will be key. Volume in zone 2 should be increasing and increasing and increasing. And at the same time, remember, focus on your technique. This is the first phase, the first part of your preparation. To do that, play with your cadence, high cadence, low cadence, but of course, swimming, cycling, and running. It's very important to discover the best way to approach your efficiency, the best way to understand how you are moving through your swimming, cycling, and running sessions. Add drills, different kind of exercises, add different gear, paddles, pull buoy, fins, different kind of running shoes when you are training for the running section, and add high intensity and short repetitions, short duration repetitions. Here you have some examples for your training. High and low cadence, skipping for the running, or high and low cadence when we are talking about the bike, which is very, very interesting to understand how we are moving and how to apply our power when we are doing the cycling process, the cycling movements. The next step, 18 to 19 weeks to go. Focus on your high intensity sessions. Remember, here we want to improve our VO2 max, our aerobic limit. Apply the technique you developed during the first phase and do it uphill and flat. So some repetitions will be done uphill, some repetitions will be done flat, in a flat terrain. Keep increasing the time in low intensity zones because it's very, very important. Remember, we are endurance athletes and zone 2 should be always there. Always, every few months, we discover a new research where the scientists discover that the more training in zone 2, to about 80% of your time, is always related to better performance. When we analyze the best triathletes in the world, they are training about 80% of their time, of their training time, in zone 1 and zone 2. And the rest of the 20% is invested in zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, zone 6. So imagine how important is zone 2 for your training. And here's something very interesting and very nice. Zone 2 is related directly to mitochondria. It's a very little part in our muscles. The more mitochondria we have, the better is our zone 2. But here is the nice part. The more mitochondria we have, the more longevity we have. So that's very important, not just for your training, but for your health. And here you have some examples for some sessions. 3 times, 8 times, 30 seconds in zone 5, 30 seconds recovering. This is a good example for the bike and for the run. 3 times 5 minutes for the bike and for the run should be a good main set of the training sessions that you can do. And 4 times 200 meters for the swim. Of course, this is focused on the zone 5. Next step, 13 to 15 weeks to go. Add gear and conditions to develop your muscular endurance in zone 4 and zone 3. And remember, reach in zone 3 at least 2 to 3 kilometers swimming, 3 to 5 hours cycling, and 90 to 105 minutes running. So this is a very important part because we want to go to the final step, to the specific phase with this volume at least covered for the swim, for the bike, and for the run. 2 to 3 hours, depending, of course, if you are racing the Ironman or the Ironman 70.3, between 2 and 3 kilometers for the swim, 3 to 5 hours for the bike, and 1 hour and a half to 1 hour and 45 minutes for the run before you finish this part of your preparation. Here are some examples of some sessions. 3 times 800 meters with paddles for the swim, 5 times 2 kilometer uphill running, and 3 times 20-minute uphill cycling. Here is when we finish the train to train phase. We've been creating the best adaptations, the best improvements in our bodies to be ready for the last 8 to 12 weeks for the specific phase. And remember, we will do a new webinar 3 months before the race and 1 month before the race. So we will talk in more detail about the specific phase and the tapering when we are approaching to race day. Here, just to give you examples about the best way to prepare your last part of the preparation. So 8 to 12 weeks to go. This is the step number 5. It's time for your specific block. Remember, we are training to race here. Focus on your race pace, power, or heart rate, and add minutes above and below that intensity. Mimic the distance. And here there is a very little detail that we need to take into consideration. You can mimic the distance and maybe cover the same distance as in the race for the swim, for the bike, and for the run when we are talking about the Ironman 70.3. and for the swim and for the bike when we are talking about the Ironman. But please avoid to run 42 kilometers when you are preparing your Ironman. This is not the best way to approach the race. This is too much. A marathon should be always considered as a main goal, not just a training. 42 kilometers of training is too much. It's too much load. Even the professional triathletes never train 42 kilometers during the preparation for their race. Okay, so mimic the distance if you want to cover the same distance as you are going to cover on race day for the swimming, cycling, and running Ironman 70.3, and for the swimming and for the cycling for the Ironman, but never ever run 42 kilometers because this is too much. This is too much for our structures, joints, ligaments, tendons, bones, etc. Examples that you can use: 15 times 200 meters in race pace for the swim, 5 hours with 2 times 90 minutes time trial for the bike, and 2 hours with 3 times 20 minutes in zone 3 for the run. Finally, 4 to 8 weeks to go. And this is very interesting. I would suggest to my triathletes to do this before race day, between 8 to 4 weeks before race day. We call it the big day. And the big day, if we are preparing for the Ironman 70.3, will be 2.5 kilometers swimming, 3 hours on the bike, and 15 kilometers running. But very, very, very important, add 90 minutes of recovery between the swim and the bike and the run. Then the big day for the Ironman will be 3.5 kilometers swimming, 90 minutes recovery, 5 hours on the bike, 90 minutes recovery, 2 hours running. Here, very important, replicate your race pace, power, or heart rate, and add specific nutrition and gear. Finally, draw conclusions and apply them to the rest of your preparation. This is very important, and I think this is a wonderful way to prepare yourself, not just physically, but mentally, and to understand much better your preparation, your race pace, your feelings, your mindset. It's wonderful to add at least one big day during your preparation. If you want to add 2, that works too. Finally, the last step, 1 to 2 weeks to go. Reduce the volume of your training and keep the intensity close to your race pace goal with other sessions very light. Of course, add extra sleep and recovery time. Remember, 1% less fatigue is better than 10% more trained. We want to reach the start line as fresh as possible. If you do that, you will conquer the Ironman and the Ironman 70.3 Portugal-Cascais. Finally, and we will start with the questions and answers, but before that, remember, enjoy the process and you'll conquer your finish line, not just the finish line in Portugal, but the finish line that is always the journey, the process, the discovering that you are going to live during the next few months. Enjoy every single day. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for being here. And now Vasco and myself will be here, happy to answer all the questions that you may have.
Thank you, Joserra. Thank you.
Okay, so
Joserra, I would say that first question could be, I have one athlete that is going to race, Thomas is going to race in Nice, and he wants to know from finishing Nice and start training to Cascais, how long should he rest, more or less?
So he means Ironman World Championship, isn't it?
Ironman Nice, the full distance.
The full distance in June.
Yep.
Yeah, in June. Yeah. So you are plenty of time to first recover well. So at least 3 to 4 weeks of very, 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 very easy training, because you need to understand the second preparation in a different way than the first part of your preparation. So when you train, for example, for the Ironman Nice, you are creating, of course, all your fitness to perform in Nice, but at the same time, you are creating the best base of your training, the best adaptations to be ready for Portugal. Because first, our brain is adapting, of course, but our muscles are adapting too. And once you finish the Ironman in Nice, if you absorb this preparation, all the months that you've been training before Nice, then when you restart the preparation then for Portugal, then you will be fitter. But to be fitter, to absorb all the preparation and the race itself in Nice, you need to recover. You need to absorb all the training, all the stimulus that you've been adding to your body. Okay, so reduce your training, very easy training for 3-4 weeks, basing all the training in maybe swimming and cycling, running, I would say just at the end of this month. So after 3 weeks of your recovery phase, start little by little running, but just 20 to 30 minutes, and then restart your preparation, but with the focus on the intensity, not the long sessions, but more the intensity, because you are training for Portugal, taking advantage of the preparation that you did before. So you don't need to do those long sessions as often as you did during the first part training for Nice.
Okay, so Alberto has two questions. One of them is like a guided diet, but it's so specific that it will be difficult for you to explain. But he has another question. It's regarding the overtraining and the risking of an injury. So how can we detect it? How can we be alert? So what's the signs of the need to take it slower?
Yes, that's a very interesting and very smart question. So recovery is as important as training. So when we go at the end of the sessions and we check our heart rate monitor, our power meter, our platform to analyze the session, it's very nice to see the numbers that we achieve. That's always very nice, it's very good. But as important as the training is the recovery. So first, take advantage of all the time that you are not training. Sleep well, reduce your stress, and eat perfectly. Those are the 3 key elements to improve your recovery. Then, the best way to understand if you are going too far, so if you are doing too much in your training, and maybe you are overtraining, is very, very, very easy. When you go to your training, if you can cover the distance, this is a good signal. If you cannot cover the distance because you are too fatigued, then this is a signal that you are training too much. Second, if you go to your training and you can achieve the goal, talking about the intensities, then this is a good signal. Keep this way. But if you cannot follow the plan, if you, for example, have 3 times 1,000 meters running and you cannot achieve the intensity, or maybe you need to shorten the training to maybe 2 repetitions instead of 3, then this is a signal that there is something that is giving you the information that, okay, maybe I'm too tired, maybe I cannot hold this pace, or maybe I cannot hold this intensity. Finally, When you go to your next training and you feel fully recovered, then this is a very good signal. If you go to your next training and you feel fatigued even before you start the session, then your body is telling you, I need more rest. Of course, if that's happening 1 day, 2 days, that's not a problem. But the problem is when you add 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and every single day you start your training to fatigue. So reduce then the training, both from the volume and the intensity, till you feel fresh and you go again to your sessions with with all the energy to perform well.
Okay, so Elizabeth has another question. It's considering your stage 6 you just announced, you are putting 2.5 Ks for the swim for the 70.3, and she is asking, why are we going to train a longer distance than in the race day? And
Yes,
also, just another question, not for from Elizabeth, but someone just asked if there's any specific tip for someone that is doing the 70.3 for the first time. So 2 different questions.
Yes. The first one is why we want to do 2.5 kilometers swimming if we are going to race 1.9 kilometers. That's a very interesting question. Yeah, what we want is to add an extra load in the swim because the swim is softer. Okay, so we can add more training when we are swimming because the stress when we are swimming is lower. So this extra 600 meters over the distance of the Ironman 70.3 won't be a problem, but will give you a very boost of energy and confidence from your mental training. Because if you can cover 2.5 kilometers training, then when you go to your race and you swim just 1.9, you will feel like, okay, that was very easy for me. So this is the goal. It's a mental part of your training. And we take advantage of the swim because the swim has a very low impact in the stress in our body. Then recommendations for your first Ironman 70.3. The first one is enjoy the process, enjoy your training. Of course, be consistent. As I told you before, this is the most important word, be consistent. And the most important part for your race, we will talk in more detail when we are going closer and closer during the next few months and the next few presentations that we will do, is that on race day, of course, enjoy, but at the same time, be patient, because many people start very, 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 very fast. And when they want to start racing the run is when they feel that they don't have more energy. So take it easy during the first part, enjoy the bike, and then feel strong on the run, and then you will have the best experience in your first Ironman 70.3.
Okay, so Francisco is new to cycling and he has like a $1,000 budget, and he is asking what should he focus regarding the bike components, like the helmet or the bike or the shoes or whatever. What's the most important things for him to prioritize?
Yes, first is safety. So safety comes from the helmet. Invest most of your money in a very, very, very good helmet, because this is safety. And as we mentioned before, this is to protect your health. So this is the main goal. Then talking about the bike, of course, the lighter the bike, the better. This is the most important part. It doesn't matter if the bike is this brand or this brand. If the bike is lighter, it's always better. So you will have a better experience. But yeah, I think this is the key element that is going to help you. Finally, if you can perform a bike fitting test, that could help a lot, because many times we have a good bike and we have a good bike to do an Ironman on Ironman 70.3, and sometimes you see triathletes that are losing a lot of energy, are wasting a lot of their time because they are not in a very good position. And remember, we are going to pedal for 90 kilometers or 180 kilometers, and it's very important to have a good bike fitting, to be sure that your position on the bike is taking advantage of your strengths, of your training, and of course you are going to enjoy a lot when you have a good position on your bike, especially because if we talk about the aerodynamics, then it plays a huge factor in the 90 kilometers of the bike.
Okay, I'm having now. It's my time to have some problems this time with the Q&A. I can't open it, so I'm going to the chat and try to find some more questions. Well, what's the key differentiator between completing VS versus getting a strong time on the race?
So competing?
So if you, what's the difference in mentality and training and so on from doing a race just to complete the time, just to complete the race, versus getting a strong time or going for your personal best or something like that?
Yes, I think the difference is that the athlete who wants to raise their best performance, they are very focused. They are very, very, very focused. They are all the time trying to take advantage of every single and little detail that they are training for. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the swimming, the cycling, or the running, the focus and the energy and time that they invest is very, very, very important. And if we talk about a triathlete aiming for a finish line and a wonderful experience, so they don't need to be as stressed and as focused as the high performer athlete is investing. So I think this is the difference, that maybe the athlete who wants to finish the race, of course, they need to take it seriously because, we are talking about long distance events, but yes, they can relax a little bit and they can, be more soft with the process, of course, taking it like seriously, but enjoying the process. And most of the time, things like the gear or maybe the nutrition or things like this are not the most important when we talk about the performance side. Is you need to take advantage of every single detail. Yeah.
Okay, so what about training in the gym? Like, should train twice a week, more or less? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, strength training is key because if you remember one of the slides that we presented, we were talking about healthy structures, and healthy structures are coming from, of course, a good training, a good preparation, individualized coaching process, but at the same time, swimming, cycling, and running are not enough. So we need to go to the gym at least once every week, maybe 2 times, and especially during these first 3 months that we have ahead. So when we are between the 23 weeks to go and the 12 weeks to go is when we need to take advantage of the gym to first do the anatomical adaptation, so low intensity, a lot of repetitions, between 15 and 20 repetitions, 3 to 6 times. Then we go to the high intensity strength sessions. So that would be about 4 to 6 repetitions, 3 to 6 times. And yeah, that lasts between 3 to 4, 5, 6 maybe weeks. And then when we enter the specific phase, we just need to go once every week or 2 times maybe. And this is just to maintain your strength. but it's important to go to the gym to keep adding this extra load to your bones, muscles, joints, and ligaments to be as healthy as possible in your structures.
Okay, so moving on. So what's your thoughts on this course? If you are a first timer, what's your suggestions? What do you think about it?
I would say you are going to live one of the most extraordinary races in the world. It's amazing. I went last year for the first time to Cascais, and I couldn't believe what I was living. It was wonderful. It was amazing. The atmosphere, the city, the volunteers, the organization. It was like, what is this? This is amazing. I don't remember the number of triathletes racing, but it was like, wow, this is like Disney World for the kids. It's like wonderful. So excitement will be part of your days in Cascais. So that's very nice. But before you go to Cascais, it will be very important to be sure that you follow your plan, because when you go to Cascais, you see all these people. It's like, what is this? This is amazing. This is wonderful. So follow your plan for the days before the race, of course, and then follow your plan on race day. So before you go to Cascais, you have to have a good plan, an individualized plan for you, all the intensities for the swim, for the bike, for the run, of course, the nutrition and the gear, but it's very important to relax yourself, because the swim is amazing. You'll have their polka with all the music, and all the volunteers and the spectators will be amazing. And then relax yourself, follow your plan, and then you will have a great day, because the feeling is that you are the center of the world, and you feel more excited that maybe you need, especially during the first part and during the first part of the bike. But then take it easy during the climb. It's wonderful. The climb, the landscape is, wow, it's amazing. And during the flat terrain, go as aero as possible. And then for the run, it's the same. For the run, start easy, because the first part through the streets of Cascais is amazing. It's crazy people cheering you, etc. So follow your plan, take it easy, and then keep some energy for the last part of your running course.
Okay, just now going for nutrition. And before that, as I'm finding some difficulties with the Q&A, and I think some people as well, please write it at the chat. Okay, write it down, and I will try to follow everything and try to get the questions you are making. Okay, passing on to nutrition. So someone just asked, what's the ideal fuel for the training sessions, and also to replace the gels and the bars on race day, if there's something you suggest to substitute that.
Yes, that's very interesting question, because every triathlete should look for their best way to have energy and to have liquids, because for some of them gels are perfect, for some of them bars are perfect, for some of them biscuits, chocolate, bananas, figs, sandwiches are perfect. So which is very important is that the key element that we need, the key nutrient that we need, is coming from carbohydrates. Okay, so the sweet foods are the best. It doesn't matter if you are eating chocolate, if you are eating figs, if you are eating sweets, if you are eating sandwich with honey, for example. This will be always the most important energy that you will need during the race. Okay, so you can change the gels and the bars for this natural food, and which is very, very, very important is that you get used to that months in advance of your race. So you don't want to wait till 1 month before, because it's too late. The best way to proceed is, once we go to the specific phase, then we start adding the foods that we want to eat during the process, okay, during the process of the race, of course, and we are going to add those meals or those foods during the specific sessions. So those sessions that are longer and that we are covering, trying to follow our race pace. Okay, so try to mimic the conditions of the race, but not just from the intensities, but from the foods that you are going to eat. Because maybe you love chocolate when you are at your home, and after your lunch you want a piece of chocolate, but when you are racing for 3, 4, 5 hours, maybe this chocolate is not the same for you. So test every single thing that you want to add to your plan, and then test once, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, as many times as you can before you go to the race.
Okay, and I think that's it. I can't find any more questions. So let's just give it a minute if anyone has to ask anything else. And well, I thank you in advance for promoting Cascais so well. And for all the athletes, I really hope that you enjoy it. At least that you enjoy it as much as we do organizing or trying to organize the best race possible for you guys. So hope you enjoy it, and hope you have the best training and so on. And Jose, back to you.
Thank you very much. I will explain it again, but I think Cascais is one of the most special places to race. It doesn't matter if it's the Ironman or Ironman 70.3. The atmosphere is amazing. The city is amazing. The organization is amazing. Every single detail, the flag in the middle of the harbor, the expo with trees inside the tent. So it's wonderful. So please go in advance to Cascais, enjoy the last days there training for your race. And yeah, enjoy the race itself, because it's absolutely amazing. And of course, I'm very much looking forward to seeing all of you in 3 months, when we want to organize the next webinar 3 months before the race.
Okay, so no more questions. So thank you to everyone, and I hope you enjoyed, and see you in 3 months.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.